Hello, everybody. Today we are going to look at a couple of different things that would include the library list, compiling code, and how actions are maintained. So first off, we're going to go ahead and connect to a system like you normally would. And now I'm connected. So the very first thing I'm going to show you is managing your library list. You usually see the library list in the IBM view, of course, under user library list. So you can actually maintain the library list inside of VS Code. And the library list that you set here applies to any action that you run in the editor. So that includes compiling code, um, running any command to create display file, out file, whatever. This is the library list that is used when running actions inside of VS Code and Code for IBM. So you can add libraries with the plus, and for example, if I want to add Richard, I can do that, and I can move it up and down with the up and down arrows on the item. You can right click to remove an item from the library list, and you can change your current library with the button which is the folder with the circle, and you can set it to whatever you like. Now I'm going to leave mine as Barry for now because I don't actually need to change it. But that's really the simple gist of the library list. It's really that simple. It doesn't take a lot of fuss. Next up, I'm going to show you the very basics of compiling some code. So I have a file called codetest.rpgle, and there's two ways that I can compile this. So to compile it, you have to run an action, and an action basically just defines the command that is going to be used when you run that action. So for example, I can either right click on the source file and click run action, and I can choose which action I want to run, or I can press Control E on Windows or Command E on Mac, which will actually show the actions for the current source that I'm editing. So I'm going to run create bound RPG program. I'm just going to click that, and we can actually see here that it failed. That was really quick. That was fun. Now, of course, the errors are going to show up. Now, let me show you what command it's actually running. To see a list of the available actions in your editor, next to the connection settings, you'll see the actions button. So you can click that, and it will show you a list of all of the available actions within Code for IBM. You can add a new action with the new action button at the top, or you can go ahead and edit any action that you want by clicking on it. So for example, if I want to see the action that I just ran, which was create bound RPG program for a member against RPG and RPGLE and RPG, I can click on it. I could see and edit the command that I will run. So I'm actually going to leave it, but you can change the name of it. You can tell it what extension you want it to run against, what type of object or file it will work against. So in this case, it only works for source members. And then you can specify where you want the command to execute. So actions can run in pace, they can run in Q shell, or they can run just as an ILE command, much like create bound RPG does. So I'm just going to close that out for now. So we have a way that we can run actions. I will mention that the way it knows to get the error listing is because star event F is used in the options parameter. So if we look at the option parameter right here, we can see that star event F is used, and this tells the compiler to generate an error listing, and so VS Code and Code for IBM knows to grab that. So nonetheless, that's how we simply compile a piece of code as a source member. Next, I will show you one other thing. From the IFS browser, it's also possible to run actions. So for example, if I open up a source file in the IFS here, I can either right click on it and use run action, or I can press Command E and run the action from here. So I'll just click that. And as you'll see this time, it's actually prompting the command up there for me. Now, the way that that works is much like how QCMD exec works on the IBM. If I take a look at the action that I just tried to use, which was this one right here, you'll see the very first letter or character is a question mark, and that really just tells VS Code to prompt the command before it's executed. So, the user can review it or can make a change to the command that's going to be executed, and it's really that simple. That's how you run actions against IFS files, and you can also run actions against objects. So for example, if I look at a list of objects in Barry, I'm actually able to right click and say run action. And I have two actions for objects here. I have a call program and delete object. So let's go look at those. So I have call program right at the top. So I have call program object pugum. There's the command that would execute it. And then I also have, where was the other one? It was delete object. So that's right down here, delete object on the object here, and that will run this delete object command. It will prompt first. Now I'll just run that just to show you. Right click, run action, delete object. And there's the command it's going to run. I can just press enter and it will delete the object. And the IFS browser, the object browser actually refreshes down there. So that was a very brief overview of actions and maintaining them, creating new ones, and running them against different file types in Code for IBM.